Okay guys, let's dive right in. 10 tips that will have you editing photos faster in Lightroom Classic and maybe unleashing some tools that you didn't know about. So my number one tip is something that I use all the time. It's the backslash tool. So if you've made an edit to an image and you hit that backslash tool, it's going to show you the before of the image. So it shows you right away the differences that you've made in your edit. And it's a nice way to kind of get a reference point for where the photo started to where you've taken it to. So while we're editing this bear photo, let's crop it in a little bit. So everyone knows that the crop tool is right here, and we can change our perspective by cropping in a bit. But did you know that if you just hit the X, it's going to flip to a vertical display? And we could change to like an 8:10 crop, and then we can adjust that vertical crop to make it more maybe Instagram friendly. So keeping with our bear cub photo, going back to a before and after concept, if we hit the Y button, it's going to allow us to see a side-by-side view. So this is a great way to be able to compare your work. And if we think about comparing our work, this next feature is a really great opportunity to see how photos look compared to one another. So if I hit N on my keyboard and then hold down Control, it's going to allow me to click photos across my film strip on the bottom and see them displayed together. So this gives me a chance to see if the colors are comparable. It allows me to see how they would look maybe if they were going to be displayed on a wall together. And it allows me to build a consistent look for a collection of images. Sometimes it's nice to see an image without all the clutter that the Lightroom application has on the left and the right and the top and the bottom. So if you would just hit the F button, it allows you to see what your image would look like just by itself on the screen. And while we're talking about isolating an image, this is a really cool feature that I just learned about. You can hit the L key and it's going to dim the lights. It's called actually lights out. It's going to dim the interface if you hit it once. If you hit it a second time, it's going to dim everything and you're going to see just the image itself on the screen. Hit it again and you get back to your regular view. All of the images that I'm using for this video are JPEGs that I imported just for use in this video. Now that said, all of the sliders are at their default position. But did you know that rather than just hitting auto and letting Lightroom make all of the choices for you, you could actually hold down Shift and double click on individual attributes, and it's going to do those same auto settings, but only for that particular setting. So if I hit the backslash again, it's going to allow me to see before where my image came from to where Lightroom decided to go. So if we click those sliders again without Shift, it's going to get us back to our default position. So if you're a wildlife photographer like me and you shoot a lot of images at any given shoot, it's beneficial whenever you're culling through your photos to be able to make a mark and go back to those photos quickly so that you can edit only the ones that you deemed to be the best. So one way to do that in Lightroom is to go through your images, and whenever you see one that you like, just hit the P key and that's going to flag the image. So I'm flagging these bear photos right here, and then if I go to the filters here, I can only show myself the flagged ones. So now I don't have to go through 1,000 pictures to find the 4 in the bunch that I want to spend the time editing. So whenever we're shooting in the field, we want to be careful that we're not blowing out highlights or crushing blacks. And then whenever we edit, we're careful that we don't do the same. The histogram is going to allow us to see where our highlights and our shadows are actually at on the image. Now, right now, this is an edited photo, and I was able to get the highlights and the shadows all within the darks and the lights all within the histogram. However, if I would really overexpose this image, and that's terrible, let's take that down a little bit. So this is really overexposed, but I don't know exactly which pixels are overexposed. If I hold down J though, J is going to actually show me where the major blown highlights are at, which are going to be right here. So that lets me know that that's the section that I want to work on if I want to use a brush to maybe darken in just that section. Lightroom has some great masking features that we can use to adjust just particular parts of our image. For this owl image, I've already selected the subject and it has masked the subject. Now, if I just hit the O button, it's only going to show me in red the overlay that I would be affecting if I would adjust any settings. Now here's the thing, sometimes an image, like let's say we're dealing with a cardinal, it would be really hard to tell on a red cardinal if this is actually selected, if that subject is actually selected. So we can actually go over here and we can change the color of this overlay to anything that we would want so that we can easily tell what area of the image is being affected. And depending on what color your background is, this might be really important and beneficial to help you in your edit. So one final tip here, we're going to go back into the crop mode. So I've selected my crop here, and if I hit O, whenever I'm in crop mode, you're going to see that it gives me a lot of different crop overlays that are going to allow me to maybe just consider the spacing of my crop a little bit differently. So cycling through that, it allows me to see these different overlays. So there you have it, 10 tips that will help you edit faster and more efficiently in Lightroom. Do you have a tip of your own? Share it down in the comments below. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, get out and shoot.